welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello everyone, welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. No, it isn't. This is Broiler Chickens. Bark, 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 bark. Well, I don't know. Is that a drunk chicken? I'm not quite sure. Whoa, what a mess. I don't know whether I'm on the right page or not. Chris, of course, is driving the bus like a boss. He's totally awesome. And hey, you know what? Is that correct? It looks like it says we've got 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we must have crossed some big threshold or something here recently. So that's kind of cool. What I wanted to do was see how the live stream is set up here because, as I said, Chris does such an awesome job. If anything, let's start off the broadcast with a hearty thank you very much. Everybody say thank you very much to Chris. There's no way I could do these videos day in, day out without him. He is just absolutely awesome. And
appreciate the sentiments, and I think you're right. Actually, it does look like TRI has surpassed the 8,000 threshold there for subscribers. Congratulations!
There you go. Yeah, well, that's a nice little treat for us to end 2023 on. And I suppose hearty and happy new year to everybody. I think actually first thing this morning when I woke up, people in Australia were reporting Happy New Year. And I'm like, gee whiz, it's like 16 hours from now for us. Then Julian, who's skiing the slopes of Mount Fuji, if I'm not mistaken. What a life, eh? Jeez, God, living the good life. Anyway, he reported in, I think, about 9 a.m. my time. Happy New Year from Japan. So we're slowly crawling our way across the globe. Really, actually, what I want to show you is that's what we want to be on the screen. A little, unfortunately, poor old Sjord, TRICTO, and really, I mean, just an absolute fucking genius when it comes to crypto and programming and stuff. I mean, let's give big shout outs to everybody while we're at it. Start off the broadcast. You guys hear me bark week in, week out, but please understand that there's a whole team that is behind the scenes that helps me put all this together. And there's no way I could do it all on my own. So like I said, and Bob there says, thank you, Chris. Love to hear everybody give a big thank you to Chris. But, also, of course, TRI's principals just talked about Julian over there living the tough life skiing Mount Fuji. Watch out for the volcano. I don't know whether Mount Fuji has a volcano or not, but anyway. And Sjord, of course, CTO. Chief Technology Officer. He's really actually the guy who brought my 1980s website into the 21st century. So those are principals of TRI. And then we have like our whole supporting cast. So like Chris, of course, awesome director, producer, chief newsletter captain. He does a great job putting these together, and I just come in and take credit for it on a weekly basis. And as well, Josh on the marketing team. If you were wondering, I don't know whether I can quickly show you. I might as well also shill too, because what the hell, we've got a new school term coming up. But yeah, you can see new school term starts in 2 weeks. If anything, you know what we need to do, Chris? And this reminds me, a good thing we popped on here. We need to get a raffle form going for this Q1 term. So can you do that for me while I'm blabbing away here? And then just let me. I don't know whether there's a form here to set up for the raffle, but there might be. That's actually a good point. Does it look like in here? Can you see? Yeah, I mean, and also maybe just PM Josh or something like that. Maybe he's already put it in here. Um, but the long and short of it here is every term, I like to give away one free seat, and if we can change your life for the better, awesome. Um, you can see all these people we've made material changes in their life. The problem is, geez, I looked in the mirror and oh my goodness, I'm such a fatso. Anyway, look at me. Jesus, what a portly punk. He's got to go on a diet. Anyway, if you want to learn a little bit more about what we do in our education program, you can see, the team has put on just a totally awesome, really updated this website. So now it looks like a 21st century website. And I like the idea every term to give away a free seat for our level 1 program. So if we don't have that available today, maybe we'll just, we do a video, a morning video. If you do watch Monday to Friday, of course, tomorrow, I might not do it because it's a holiday and everything will be closed. But if you want to try and win that seat for the upcoming school program, at the very least, you should be able to probably just, I don't know what happens if we click on this. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I guess because I'm already on the site as alumni, obviously. They don't set that up for me. But we should have like a form where you can sign up for the raffle. And if anything, Chris, maybe what we can do while I'm out with Liam this afternoon, maybe you can just throw that raffle link or a link to like a Google form or something like that. Maybe we can use ones that we've used in the past. I don't know. In the description of this video, we go comment below, right? Isn't that how you're supposed to do this? And we'd love to have you in the education program for Q1. And if fate has it that you were supposed to win that and get it for free, then awesome. I'd absolutely love to see that. So anyway, regardless, and I have been, of course, tweeting out this address. If you want to learn a little bit more about our program and how you can participate, pop on over to this page, and I'll even put this in the little chat there on YouTube, just so you have it. And of course, Chris, if you could throw that into the description, comments, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not quite sure how all that works, but Chris is really good at that stuff. Thank you, sir. We do a newsletter every week as well, and it's kind of like a dovetail to this broadcast. I like to just sort of mention a few things that I see in the market. And really, the sort of public commentary of this video, it should be centered around what you see on the screen. Talk a little bit about what we saw happening in the markets this past week. And then talk a little bit, of course, crypto in particular, what we saw happening around Bitcoin and the crypto and altcoin space. And also, there's a number of different things. We have algorithms and stuff that we run on the site. They give us a pretty good idea of sort of what our market expectations ought to be. And then also too, as an old commodities broker, I used to run this weekly commodity trend survey. And ironically enough, one of the only markets that I actually really like from a value perspective right now is natural gas. And sadly, our CTO I had mentioned earlier, his whole family came down with, oh my God, an absolutely horrible sickness. It might be fucking, what are we going to call this thing in past tense? Because, with all these Google and YouTube and all that kind of algorithms and stuff, obviously you can't say the C word. Maybe we'll call it like the Klaus sickness. So then we all know exactly what this is all about. But it sounds to me like there's another Klaus sickness that's ravaging Europe. And Sjord and his whole family have been sort of knocked up with it, which is kind of sucks, but kind of having a hard Christmas over there. So as a result, one of the sort of failings of us having a limited team and a limited budget is when stuff breaks on the site and our CTO is sick in bed, we're just going to have to wait for him to come back and fix this and get it operating correctly. So my apologies to site members right now. We don't have the weekly commodity trend survey active. But as soon as Stewart feels like he's back on the mend and back in, the good part about it, I suppose, it is a weekly survey, so things don't change a heck of a lot from week to week. And especially with regard to things like crypto and stuff, I'd be a little bit reluctant to get too bullish here, as a lot of names, especially things like Bitcoin and stuff, we're not at value levels right now, folks. Please understand that. If you want to come in and spend your hard-earned money buying Bitcoins here, that's fine. I mean, hell, that's the beauty of an open marketplace. And if anything, it's it's the hallmark of why, like, how do you describe this? If we were in China and I said I didn't want to do something, Big Brother might tell me to either, shut my mouth and do what you're told. And if you don't, you might just be executed or sent off to some forced labor camp and never heard from again. That's a very real reality of this world, folks. Hate to say it, I think a lot of people following the 1990s were really hoping that Russia and a huge portion of Eastern Europe was going to be able to break the shackles of that totalitarian dictatorship environment. And this Mr. Putin guy has basically taken the past 10, 20 years to try and reestablish totalitarian dictatorships in that part of the world, which is a shame. I was really hoping that those days were behind us as a species, but it doesn't look like it. And then the worst part about this, I think, from my perspective, is that if it's not one totalitarian dictatorship, it's another form of totalitarian dictatorship. So now us in the West, theoretically, we were supposed to be living in democracies and free. But what I've seen happen over the past 10, 20 years is the oligarchs of our Western society have tried to establish their version of totalitarian dictatorships through the use of all this deep state and all this crap, right? So, if anything, consider Brian as, one of the last sort of bastions of free speech. I mean, unfortunately, sometimes my speech is really salty and it's not very politically correct, but man, I'll go to my grave defending free speech. And you all know my story. The best part about my story is, if I do happen to be unalived or disappear accidentally, fall off a building accidentally, I think that Liam will survive in the state that he's in, and he is my only sort of offspring. And if anything, I've asked a whole bunch of people in our community just to keep an eye on him. He's probably my only sort of major concern. But if anything, if I am given the permission to leave this life and head on over, and it's actually a bonus for me because I finally get to go over and be with my wife again. And unfortunately, my father just passed away. Maybe he and I can have a renewed relationship on the other side. I don't know. We'll see. So, as a result, I don't really have a hell of a lot to lose. So I can be maybe a little bit over the top. But if anything, I'd almost like the idea of being boisterous and sort of over the top about freedom and freedom of speech and freedom of capital movement and freedom of anything possible, and be critical of things like substitute drama teachers trying to almost convert a beautiful country like Canada into some sort of Klaus-based hell. And it really sucks the way that this one gentleman in this one little period of time has completely just gutted our society. I mean, I'm shocked at how much damage one human being can do in the face of this. But I think if anything, this is a really good testament. We used to have a site member a while ago who used to talk about how we had a whole bunch of celestial events all happening all simultaneously. And if you do your research, it turns out that there's something like once in a million years, all of these celestial events all seem to happen all at the same time. And as a result, humanity has to go through some dramatic changes. I think that is what's happening right now. I just hope to God, especially for all of you, for all of you that have young children and stuff, if there's any way I can help you to get through this and not get sort of sucked into the vortex of shit that the oligarchs seem to be laying on all of us, then I've done my job. And that's a big reason why I did this school program is I have like 30 plus years of direct practical experience managing money, going from absolutely nothing. And actually, I was quite pleased. I did the math today, and actually, I can officially say that I am a millionaire. And I will say that after my wife passed away 12 years ago, I literally drank and smoked and spent my way into bankruptcy. And I was ready to die. I basically told God, I said, look I'm I'm in your hands. You do whatever the hell you want with me. There is nothing left for me here. God said, well, I've got a job for you, Brian. Straight from the heart, people. If it's one thing you will absolutely always get from me, and it's to a fault, that I do wear my emotions on my sleeve. I will tell you exactly how I feel, whether it be politically correct or not. And you've probably heard my story. You probably think that half of it's horseshit, but I will tell you the one thing that always keeps motivating me to come back day after day, week after week, relentless, unstopping, never yielding, is this belief that I'm trying to make a positive difference in this world. That is the number one thing my goal. And I do find it interesting that when you don't concentrate on the money and you concentrate on doing things like making a positive difference into the world or trying to help your fellow man, and you're just doing the right thing, the money will just take care of itself. So I do find that fascinating. So here we are. It's the end of 2023. It's interesting that this has been an interesting year because Mr. Gann would say that markets love to move in sort of these annual movements, and I do find it fascinating that this is almost exactly 1 year from the date of where we bottomed to where we topped. Mr. Gann, of course, would absolutely love that. So, according to Mr. Gann, we probably should, over the next 6-month period, actually look for a 50% retracement of this move that was almost exactly 1 calendar year in duration. Kind of like how this top was noticed November 2021, the bottom November 2022, or basically exactly 1 year. And you notice, where are we right now? Oh, hello. We're sitting at exactly 50% of that entire meltdown move. You think that's an accident? I don't. Also, too, good old Feigenbaum's and chaos theory. We're parked right at a chaos level. You think that's an accident? I don't think so. So I do find it fascinating that we've just basically parked ourselves for basically a month. We haven't really done anything over the past month. Right at this hugely significant level here, 50% of the entire trading range, 2.618 off of the most recent double bottom breakout. suppose there were probably some other technical points. In fact, actually, there was somebody in the lounge, and I thought this was a really cool study. They just posted this morning, and I absolutely love this about TRI. In essence, this place should all be about 1+1 = 3. They should never, ever, ever. And I've been trying desperately over the past 5-10 years to move us away from this. But this site should not be the Brian Beamish site, right? And oh yeah, we're all going to blindly follow this guy because he's so smart. Because frankly speaking, I'm not that smart. And some of you guys are way, way better traders than I am. I mean, I've been at this game a long time. So I do know some basic rules of thumb, things like, how do you build a small business of trading with the expectation of actually making money. There are some basic rules behind the logic of this. So that's my privilege, is I get to show you guys all the basic rules that sadly, of course, do people like Joey Diamond, do they ever tell the public the rules of playing this game? No. Why? Because it's not in their best interest. Is it in Brian's best interest? A guy who doesn't have anything to lose. And really, the only thing that I want is when I die, I get to go and be with my wife, and I get to stand in front of my maker. And my maker says, Brian, you spent the time that you were given judiciously. Yeah, things kind of went bad there halfway through, but yeah, you took the time that was left and you made lemonade out of it when you could have just given up. So that's my motivation here. So, anyway, what I wanted to show you, I thought this was super cool. There's a bunch of people online that teach you a million different ways to trade and stuff. This is using a logarithmic chart to look at Bitcoin price action. And it's interesting, if we take a look at that all-time high there up at 60, 70,000 bucks and do a logarithmic study off of this, notice we banged right into the midpoint of the reload short zone drawing fibs. These are, how do you say, logarithmically adjusted fib studies off of this range. I thought that was super cool. And of course, we like to call this our institutional fingerprint, or basically the bar that made the high of the swing move plus the preceding bar. So you can see what happened. This was just as Mr. SBF was blowing himself up, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, that was over here. I think I have to remember what crisis. I don't think this was the Luna. I think Luna was more through the summer. I can't remember what the first topping event was. Do you remember 3? Oh yeah. 3. Yeah, that's right, Nick. Good memory. 3 Arrows Capital. Remember those guys? Wait. They used to always say, "Oh well, if the market's breaking to new highs, don't sell half on a double, buy more." And how did that turn out? Oh boy. So fascinating. There's a million different ways to skin the cat. This is an interesting perspective. This is looking at a log chart. And of course, this is our reload zone. And of course, that 70.2 is basically the midpoint, or think of this as like a tennis racket or a baseball bat, right? And the sweet spot of that zone. And of course, you know what happens when you hit a tennis ball right in the sweet spot of the racket. Usually it's a pretty good hit. So fascinating how that also too banged up against an interesting 1.618, or the golden ratio off of this particular trading range breakout. It just goes to show that there's a million different ways to skin the cat. I personally, I'll switch between logarithmic and regular price charts quite often. What I would simply say is use, and I have a lot of people who always ask, why would you use logarithmic chart? Why would you use a regular chart? I would use a regular chart if you're trading things like futures contracts, where 1 point movement is X dollars. And it doesn't matter whether, Bitcoin 79,000 or 29,000 or 20,000. If you're trading the futures contracts, 1 point is, like in crude oil. It doesn't matter whether crude price is $100 or $10. 1 point, 1 tick movement on the big boys is $10. So in that case, you'd use a regular chart. if you're actually measuring growth and you want to understand the relative change in price and how that relates to previous changes in price, i.e., the asset is growing. If you think of companies that earn money, obviously a company that's $1 a share, if they earn a penny a share, that's a 1% movement. If they earn 10 cents a share, then that's a 10% movement. But if a company's $10 a share and they earn 10 cents a share, well, that's not even 1%. So obviously, in that case, a 10-cent movement is a huge difference. Whether you're $1 a share or $10 a share makes a big, big difference. So I don't think that there's a right or wrong. It's really how do you look at this asset? A lot of people like to look at Bitcoin from a growth perspective. And actually, there's some tweets and stuff that you put that I've seen recently that are doing sort of the growth Bitcoin perspective. And I guess that's this kind of chart. And where the hell's the top on this damn thing? If we actually change this to a logarithmic chart, oh my goodness, the sky's the limit. Anyway, I'm just rambling here a bit. All I would just simply say is, whether you use the regular charts, coming into, there's that same institutional fingerprint up top there. I'd also call this a nice empire top here. I think this is probably the last place where the institutional people actually put a top into the Bitcoin price. So it doesn't really surprise me that we're running into a bunch of traffic up in here. This is basically the last time, institutional players, if they were going to sell and drive the market down, this is where they stepped up and did so. And interesting too, like their actual level that they would do the short at would be on a break of this big candle. So that's like in futures trading land, we'd call that an empire top. Anyway, that number there is 41,889. So not a big surprise that we just keep flirting all around that 41,889, 42,000 number as we're just cleaning up. You also, too, I think I've talked to you guys about this before. We also have this wick up here. So there's a bunch of people that thought, I'm going to buy against these lows, which is smart. They started to run the market up here. Okay, this is a new bull. They started to get super excited. And then the bull just fell apart. And they're trapped in this wick right up here. They bought up here. And of course, we affectionately like to call them, they're sleeping on the couch, sleeping in the doghouse, whatever. Maybe their job's in jeopardy on a trading desk, or maybe, just their wife is pissed off at them because they went and blew their life savings or their family vacation money. That's what I always like to say, on Bitcoin, and they're trapped, right? And they would desperately love to get out of there and get out of that bad trade. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. Notice, look at our high here. That's basically right exactly where we are right at the moment, eh? So ironically enough, this whole move up, we actually like to call this in the market. And I said, I see this repeatedly right across the crypto market is, we like to call this, well, I don't know, maybe me. The market is climbing the wall of worry. And ironically enough, in this kind of environment, what usually ends up happening is, of course, as we're heading lower, everybody and their brother is bearish. It's going to zero, it's going to zero. And then as we slowly take out previous highs, and if we start Wing out, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull. Show me a bull. Remember how Mr. Fink came in? He started to see that the market was starting to break, and he went on like CNBC literally at this moment and said, I want a Bitcoin ETF. Don't you dare break my fucking Bitcoin down. And it started to ratchet back up. We started to get back down to his magic level. Hey, I said, get out of here. Get your ass back up there. And boom, up we go. Blah, 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 whatever. Point here is that, and actually I often tell people a really easy way for you to do TA is just look left, i.e., what did the market do as we're moving higher here, especially when we clean through this point. Your next technical objective, if you look left, is this point. what a big surprise. Look where we stopped. We consolidate, Mr. I want a Bitcoin ETF. I want fuck you. Right. And punch the market up through these highs, creating a new W. Now, what do you want to do? Look left. All right. We look left from here. We went through that high. Where's our next stop? Oh, there we are, up into that wick where all these trap bulls are. I would say if we can punch through that high, and it looks like we've done that, look left. Where should we see our next resistance point? Right up top there. So you ever hear me talk about look left? Well, this is a really, really good example of it. The point here is you can see not only this high right here, right, that high right there, but also this high right here. They're in pretty close proximity. So it's not right. There's going to be huge money to be made. You can see this window is 48 and change, and this high is 52. And it's interesting too, if and you have to sort of expand your brain a little bit here. I'll just throw it on here to help you see. But you could make the argument that this is a head and shoulders working something along these lines. Right. So notice the way that you sort of validate head and shoulders, of course, we'd like to see bullish momentum divergence through the head, which I think we had. Yep, there it is. Look at that beautiful bull div. In fact, actually, I used to have an old student of mine who absolutely loved these bull divs on the weekly charts. They make investing in this stuff actually really, really easy. Just wait for the bullish divergence. And then when everybody else is uber bearish, just first W you see, look at all these W's all coming in, Willie stupid, blah, blah, blah. Just get in there and buy. But anyway, point here is if you think about sort of inverted head and shoulders, notice a valid inverted head and shoulders, we should see bullish divergence through the head. But more importantly, we should see that the right shoulder does not go through the left shoulder's lows. And notice how we came down here twice down into this low, and twice that low was rejected, and then we turned up through the neckline. If that's the case, then really all this is, just think of this, and all of you can do this, but just think of this as a trading range, right? Bottom end of the range, top end of the range. And if we break out through the trading range, then the odds are, and this is just simple, think of the market as like a parking garage or an apartment building or a department store, where this is one particular level of the department store. And we're sort of just playing around, like we'd call this like housewares. And if we break out through the department store, think of the escalator. When you go up to the next level of the department store, now we're in this trading range. So you can see the breakout through the top. Where's previous resistance? Notice when we do, this is what's called a measured move. We just project this same range up top here. And again, that's what this inverted head and shoulders objective reference is. There's our high. Remember, look left. Where's resistance? Right up in there. And of course, our institutional fingerprint. So if the bears are going to step up and actually defend this top here, well, they're probably going to come in through here. Notice we also have a little foggy boggy there to trade to. And we also have a big fat round number, 50,000 bucks. Woo! And that's a pretty big fat round number. It seems logical to me that the market wants to go up and tag that. So having said that, the market's basically has a head of steam behind it. And I got to blow my schnoz, so bear with me here a second. Maybe I'll put myself on mute so you don't have to put up with this. I'm not quite sure how I do this. Let's see what happens if I mute myself on the Zoom call. Does that mute myself on the YouTube video? All right, well, just give me a second here. I'm sure like all of you, when I start thinking about my poor wife, Jojo, I sure miss you. Now I get to add my old man to the equation and get all choked up. So anyway, my apologies. Actually, did I turn the microphone back on? Can you hear me? Okay, thank you, Chris. Um, so I like the idea that we are pushing up into these levels up top here. I know, of course, we got a mountain man, good old Brandon. None of you know Brandon. He used to be like the nemesis of mine in the crude oil trading pits. He'd always be hitting 61.8, and I'd always be long bot setups, and we'd basically be off of the same level. Him short, me long. Well, let's see what happens. Anyway, actually, I wanted to sort of side story. Wanted to validate that I could still day trade crude oil. So about I don't know about 4 or 5 months ago, I just re-signed up for my old prop firm's tryout. I'm a slow and steady wins the race kind of guy. I think I was over there for a few years and didn't really do a hell of a lot. Got funded by them, but I'm in this more as a demonstrator of best practices than I want to go make $1 million at this. But anyway, I'm pleased to see that my account's up about I don't know 1% to 1.5% or so. So, and really, I don't even consider their actual dollar figures of their quote unquote combines to be real money. I consider what is the risk that you're allowed to take on your account and what kind of money have you made relative to the risk. So, in that regard, I'm up about 25%. They've given me a window where I can risk $2,000, and the account's up about 500-600 bucks or so right now. So, I'm happy with that. If and when I do actually get funded with them again, and the goal is I have to make $3,000 for them, so I'm about what I guess about 15% of the way to the objective. As soon as I actually do get funded with them again, then I'm actually going to start the Pro Traders Boot Camp up and running, and I've sort of put myself on a. I'm not allowed to tout myself as an authority in the day trading space until I've actually proven to all of you guys that I can get funded by these prop firms. So slow and steady wins the race. I trade crude oil Monday to Friday on a little prop account that I have with them, and like I said, just slowly making money for them. So not quite sure where that was going, but anyway, I wanted to mention it just in case anybody was interested. And we do have actually a very active day trader room over at TRI. We call it our battle stations room. And we have some absolutely fantastic day traders. Ed, he went and got funded with Top Step. So proud of him. Josh, he's going through some challenges in life like all of us, but he's so dogged. It's great to see him. The dude abides actually just finished our level 3 program. I think he wants to go into our level 4 program. That reminds me, anybody who wants to learn about option spread trading with Zach, we only have the spread trading program open to school alumni because I don't want people right off the street getting involved in option spread trading. It can be really, really dangerous. In fact, this is how dangerous option and option spread trading is. And yet the public just doesn't understand this. This gentleman here, he was involved in a spread trade. He misinterpreted the data and he actually ended up taking his own life. So that's how serious this shit is. And it breaks my heart because he really needed to be working with a guy like me who would have just slowed him down a little bit. And we're it just breaks my heart. So, it's interesting. Like you just saw, that was a message from Zach, our level 4 instructor on option spread trading. You can't take this stuff lightly, people. You have to take it very, very seriously. And I don't think enough people in the public do take this stuff seriously enough. Anyway, I'm so proud of Zach. I'm so proud of the program that he's run. And I'll tell you, man, some of the trades that he and the whole team have come up with over the course of the past 6 months are just incredible trades, including trades in like crypto. we had one spread trade that just turned out to be a monster home run. And that was in the, see if I can quickly show you. That was in Mara. Oh my goodness. I can't believe how this thing moved. So, this is actually a good example. There you are. So we wanted to buy the December 2025 $25 call option. So this thing, it still has more than a year of life. And we were going to write the December 25 $35 call option. And this thing's already gone, and you can see the cost of the trade is like $1, $1.50. And this thing already went like $5 in the money. So this trade's already produced 300x on that move right up into there. But needless to say, sell halves on doubles, all that kind of stuff. They've got basically a year's free trade on this trade right now. I mean, they absolutely killed it. Now, what I would say is, and you can see where we were interested in doing the trade. Is it a good idea to come in on the buy side now? No way. This spread trade has already gone absolutely through the roof. And unfortunately, I can't show you spread charts, but it would be super cool to show you that. So anyway, anybody who is interested, alumni, if you are watching this, just keep in mind that we are doing a level 4 program with Zach this term, depending on how many people do ask to do the program. We might put it off into the spring because, like I said, it's only open to the alumni. So we have relatively limited audience, and we want to, do at least a minimum number of students to make it worth Zach's time. So I'll probably be sending emails out in that regard over the coming week as well. So if you are alum or if you are a level 3er just finished, if you would like to learn how to set yourself up for these spreads, another really good example of a spread trade that he did. Another one, I just never got around to doing it. It's too many shiny objects. But in the banking sector, another fabulous spread trade. And actually, you can even see the prices that we were quoted. We were going to buy the 11s and write the 12s. And you can see the total cost was going to be like 40 cents, although I don't know whether that's correct or not. But yeah. So this was also a good example of a TRI SOF, where this option right here, the $12 call. That's what you see on the screen here. Yeah. So what's the maximum I can pay for this $12 strike? $1.24. And you can see the $12 strike was 75 cents at the time of this printing. Yeah, we can use the midpoint of the bid and offer, 82, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, point of the matter here is you can see this option went to $2.42 intrinsic value. So what is that? That's like 4x, 5x on your money. That's not a bad trade. Anyway, so that's what these options guys do all day long. Tell you, man, we build some absolutely killer traders, whether it be day trading, whether it be spread trading, whether it be futures trading, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be altcoins. I mean, you want to see the exact polar opposite end of the market. Short coins, having fun in Solana. Somebody encouraged me to get involved in the Solana universe. Complete change of venue, speed, completely different part of the market. This is little old lady investing, all that kind of fun stuff. And here's a fun one. I mean, this is, again, and the irony of it all is that the principles that we teach in the level 1 program, it doesn't matter whether you're an options trader, you buy W's and options, you're a futures trader, you buy W's and futures, you're a shitcoin trader trading the altcoins. I basically went in, bought a W off of a lower time frame chart, banging out doubles. And actually, this is the crappy part about trading these unregulated markets, is I actually had a sell half on a double order working up top here, and the bastards wouldn't give me a fill. Anyway, but got halves on doubles fills here. Then I went and saw another W. What a beautiful example. There's one gentleman on the site who is asking about RJ, LJ, trendline break setups. This is a really, really good example off 4 hour. Beautiful W following trendline breaks. And of course, got nice doubles. Bought the W, banging out doubles on this one as well. But the point here is that because the universe is a fractal, it doesn't really matter what you're trading. The principles that we teach you at TRI, they're universal. They're all exactly the same, whether it be options, whether it be futures, whether it be stocks, whether it be indexes, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be shitcoin. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same principle. And really, the whole point of what I do is I want to teach you how to build and manage and run your small business of trading. So a lot of this has really more to do with things like money management. How do you determine how much money of your stake you're going to risk on a shalt coin like this? Turns out there are very specific formulas and numbers that you can use to set yourself up that, if this thing doesn't work, and there's a whole bunch of these that I've bought that are doing absolutely nothing right now. And I think that actually they're really, really attractive. I can take a couple minutes and just run through these if you want, but here's one just for fun. Remember, this is all for fun. Picked up a little bit of this off of this bottom down in here. You can see if this W forms here, I might just go add to the trade. It's not a bad looking name. What's the odds that this thing might actually just have a 50% retracement? And you all know what the odds are. If you don't, maybe consider our course. But actually, yeah, let's do it as a fib study. We'll take the low, back up to the high. Where's the 50% rule? That's all the way up here. Let's get rid of all this stuff. So what's the odds that something like this can trade back to the 50% rule? Well, actually, I'd say they're pretty good. Look at that. This thing's sitting at 20 cents, and the 50% level is 5x where we are. I mean, can I, even where I bought, I picked up, where did I pick this up? 41. 41, right? Looks like that's where all my fills are. If this thing goes and W's out there at 36, is it worth me adding since I'm long from 41? Yeah, maybe. I might just leave this alone. But what's the odds of this thing getting back to the 50% level? Over the next 6 months? Wicks and tails like to be eaten, right? You've heard me talk about that. Not expecting new highs here. All I'm expecting is just a bounce. And interestingly enough, I mean, I don't think this is totally accurate. You could probably move that. So yeah. So now if we get a W on the other side of this trend line, oh boy, away we go. But just as an example, right? And if anything, I think what's happened here is Solana, of course, and actually we have that price chart. Solana itself zoomed higher, and actually a lot of our site members still have higher price objectives. So a huge run up. Now, and this might be interesting, and I'm talking 100 miles an hour. I'm not even giving you guys the opportunity to participate, but you tell me. And you can see all I was gifted a bunch of Solana, and I basically used the Solana capital to go and buy all these other names. So the account value isn't really changing a hell of a lot if they're just sort of sitting doing nothing, or if like the potato, I'm banging out doubles. I'm actually getting the original capital out of that, but I don't want to change topic. I'm like I said, I'm going 100 miles an hour here, so I gotta stay on topic. But who can tell me here? What's the potential trade setup? And actually, maybe let's do it on TradingView because it'll probably be a little easier for you to see. Let's see. And look at this one. I don't know. You tell me. And this is the one that we had in the newsletter today. Is there any money to be made on a name that looks like this? If we just do, I mean, this is why I do the venture capital. I mean, you saw that potato. This is exactly the same shit, but look at this. This is insane. I'll do the 50% rule, and we all know that markets like to bounce about 50% of their previous range. I'm not guaranteeing price goes to here. And if it does, of course, this is an absolutely insane monster home run. We're not asking this thing to go to new highs. In fact, we're not even asking it to go beyond 50% of its previous trading range. You tell me, how many X's is this on this damn thing? This is why we play the venture cap market. And this is why you have to train yourself to come in at the bottom end of the range. I mean, look at this. Just to move back to the 50% level is almost, what is that? Is that 10? That's like 20x, right? 1900% from 1.5 cents to 24 cents. Now, you tell me. I'm not saying go and take a mortgage out on your house and go and load up on this thing. But if I just for conversation's sake, if I took 5% of my stake, that's what I've got to work with. I don't know. Let's say my stake is for fun. What the hell? Let's do some. Let's say my stake is 10 grand. All right. And I take 5% of my stake. How much money is that? Right, that's 500 bucks. And then let's say I go and I'll buy at 1.5, whatever the hell this is. Right, we'll go 0.015. Right. Oh, now you got to pay 1.6. Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. Capitalism. Jeez, bastards bidding these things up. Anyway, let's go just for simplicity. Let's use 1.5. Actually, it doesn't even make a difference, does it? 1.25 would be 20, but let's say 1.5. Then we will sell half at 0.0135. No, not 0.1, 0.35. So is that a double? Yeah. It's a double plus 0.005, right? And we'll give that for the taxman. Because of course they want their cut, right? So that I've now established a risk-free position. Always a good place to play from. So I guess my first question for you is it realistic that this thing might trade back to that level some point over the next year or two? Is that reasonable? Seems reasonable to me. I'm not saying look to take profits at 50% level. Because, I mean, come on, that's kind of pie in the sky. We want to try and do things like banging out doubles. You've probably heard me say that before. Well, and here's an opportunity for you guys finally on YouTube to actually participate. What do we say? Who can finish this statement? TBG, I know you can finish this. The longer the channel, the bigger the what? I think I saw TBG here. There he is. Thank you, Nick. No, that's JU5T1ICE. Is that our Just Ice? Actually, Just Ice is a great futures trader. He's in our day trading room quite often. It's always fun chatting with him. That's you? Oh, cool. Nice to see you, sir. Adam's turning into a very good futures trader. Gordon, do I know you, Gordon? I'm sure I do. Anyway, good job. Run. And Nick over here, but TBG, you didn't say run. Oh, you're gonna bum me out, man. Okay, fine. There's Jason. Actually, Jason is going to try and help me get the page reporting a little bit better, which I think would be good. But anyway, back to our story here. So ironically enough, just as this thing's actually breaking out of the channel, you're going to get your boom, sell half on a double. And actually, this will be a little bit more than a double. Get enough for your tax man to keep them happy, and you get your original money back. How about doing a New Year's rant countdown? How I do actually have to take off. Remember, I've got Liam. He's my number one priority in my life. So actually, once I'm done this, I'm gonna head off and go to my real job. Although my real job, I don't do that good at it, but I keep trying as hard as I possibly can to give him a good life. Anyway, moving on. So let's assume that you sold half and you got this risk-free position. Then let's assume, just for fun, right? That means $250 because that's half of what you had invested originally at this 1.5 or 1.5 cents. That turns into, I don't even really have a problem if you just want to work your open order at this 25 cents and just, let the damn thing work. And if it hits, it hits. And if it doesn't, who gives a shit? And let's say, just hypothetically, that we're not going to sell everything. We'll just sell another half. So we go on the $250, we go up to 25 cents, and we're going to sell half of it. So we know that $250, well, you can just do the calculator. Where's my calculator? So $250 by 0.015. We're just saying hypotheticals here. So that's, interesting number. 16,666. So we will look to sell half of that. So we'll say 8,333 at 25 cents. So that works out to $2,083. Yeah, we'll just call it that. Oops. So we will look to sell half of remaining at 50% of the trading range. Not really that much. Not even asking for new highs. I mean, maybe these guys invented a whole brand new way of looking at the world. I don't know. But the point here is we're going to sell that, and we'll say half of 250 is what did we say, 8.3k coins at 25 equals, what did I say, it's $2,083 or something like that. So you're now sitting on a situation where you got all your original money back up top here. So yeah, there's no risk on this trade going forward. You also had a little bit of money to pay the tax man. You've now gone and sold half of the position at 2,083. Obviously, there's going to be a tax implication there. I don't know, maybe you say, well, I'll leave that up to you, whatever you want. If we use the same logic here, we took, what did we take off here? I won't go through the numbers. What do you say? All right, Nick's got to take off. Thank you, Nick, for best wishes with Liam. Appreciate it. But the point here is you got 2,083 plus your $500. Obviously, there's going to be a tax liability with here. So you're sitting on right now, roughly $2,500 or 5x your original investment, and you still have 8.3k coins on the books. And who knows where the hell this is going to take you. I mean, this is the skill that I'm actually trying to teach you, everybody. So it's not really like what this would do is it would basically on your original $10,000 stake, if you do get this kind of move, it's going to basically put about 2,500 bucks in your pocket. Of course, if you have any losers from that original 10K stake, then you can always do tax loss selling to offset that. But the point here is we have now booked basically a 25% return on your money. Obviously, there's tax implication involved. And you still have a quarter of your original position on the books. Heaven forbid this thing actually go up and actually trade to new highs. I mean, that's in a nutshell what I'm trying to teach you guys how to do. And, for lack of a better expression, and I'll even post this in the lounge on the site if anybody, I would strongly suggest any of you, especially if you're just starting the education program, you will be around for this entire bull cycle. If you plan to do all three plant levels, maybe even the fourth level as well, then you're going to be around for the next few years on the site. So this is basically exactly what I did with this original portfolio that I ran a few years ago, and did this. It's exactly the same logic, no difference whatsoever. So do you want to do this? It's up to you. The money's just sitting there. As I had sort of said, and I'm already banging out doubles on this funny potato, my SOL experiment here. You never know when the doubles will come in. This one, it took literally 42 minutes to bang out the double. 42 minutes. So you don't know how long this is going to take. And, full disclosure, everything that I buy and sell in the account, and this is like my bread and butter, perfect setup. Double bottom on volume breakout. Absolutely love it. And, the irony of it all is that this one just happened. And as I showed you there just a moment ago, I mean, there are names that are putting in these W's. And, the key is what we want to see is we want to see them done on volume. But there are these numbers. I showed you that wife. I mean, I think I went through a couple of these, but I'll try again here. Obviously look at the number of transactions going through on these things. Holy crap. You can see how busy this network is. And, just looking at that SOL chart, I saw that just a moment ago. Actually, that might be an old one, but I thought I saw SOL just a moment ago on the trading view charts. Actually, looks like it's trying to break out here, right? And I was going to ask you a trivia question, but where I guess I don't have that on here. Well, I guess we can do it here. But you tell me, what kind of chart pattern, if you've been working with me long enough, what kind of chart pattern is going on here? As we sort of look at this, clearly, is Brian going to suggest that you're coming in and buying value on a name like this here right now? No. There's no value, right? Solana fans go, what? There's tons of value in this, but value trade, right? There's your double bottom down at the bottom end of trading ranges. Hopefully you can see the value trade. Then we had a trend continuation trade. That was this bot setup. You can see beautiful entry at 25, huge explosion up top. I would actually argue we're probably near the end of a move here. But having said that, we all know that the market can remain illogical far longer than any of us can remain solvent. And of course, we've got the Bitcoin ETF coming up here. Gensler looks like he's still in the penalty box, so he has no teeth. Could we be setting up another bot trend continuation trade? Sure, why not? So what I want to see for this is I want to see at least a 33% correction. Oh, look at what we did there. And then maybe what we have to do is drill down to a lower time frame chart. And oh, hello, look at what we have happening here. And so you can see if we draw out our bot levels, thinking like bull AB equals CD. And of course, is always backwards. So there we go. Now it's forwards. So you can see there is the new entry level for the new bot. If we go A to B, boom to boom, something like that. You could go off of that low. Wouldn't make that much of a difference. Let's do this as a dash line so we can tell it apart. And then C to D. Yeah, you can see. In fact, actually, one site member, Steven, who of course is a huge fan of SOL, he's been saying all along that his price objective is 160 on SOL. I don't know whether, I don't like getting into the business of predicting what's going to happen. I just sort of go with the flow. What I would just simply say here is all of you that know me and have seen the bot, you should look at this and go, oh, yeah, that looks pretty familiar. So interesting how we have a nice trend line developing off of, well, there's a really steep one that's already been broken. I think probably this one's probably a good one to use. What we would ideally like to see is 3 tags, 1, 2, it's a bit low. Maybe we do 3 here. And then what I really want to see to know that this thing's really going to rock and roll, I want to see a W on the other side of these downtrend lines. So we've got the W over here forming. You can see that big W on the other side of this trend line. But I would like to see, and of course, we've got 1 low, 2 lows. I'd love to see us maybe make a 3rd low in here. And can I get some sort of W to form? And ideally, of course, I'd love for that to come in below this 25 level. Oops. And then that way, you can see how this will set up, and maybe that takes us up into Steven's level. And if that does happen, then I think that all these little ones that are sort of deriving their value off of the Solana chain, they're all going to take off. So you can kind of see how if the Solana trade firms up, and you can see it over here. It's the same logic. Hopefully, just this is a 4-hour chart. Hopefully, you can see it. You can see the amount of activity on the network. I mean, it is just hopping. Look at it, just flying there with the transactions. So I don't think that this is over by a long shot. We're still in the holiday weekend, so this might even happen as we're working our way through the holiday weekend. Hopefully, this thing loads up here. Because there's so much data here, though. I do often find that this site actually has a hard time loading the chart because it's so busy with, well, I've got to keep up with all of this. I mean, look at this thing go. That's a sign that we're in a bull market. Look at it's accelerating as we're going here. Holy crap. So anyway, and actually, you can kind of see this fairly. This is SOL versus what is this? This is SOL versus well, it's called wrapped SOL. Oh, there it is, versus USD. What I really want to see, and you can kind of see everything that I showed you on that trading view chart, same sort of logic. There's the downtrend. So we broke the downtrend. Can I now get a nice W on the other side of this trend line? Oh, where did the chart go? There it is. It's back. Now, who can tell me, all you sharpshooter traders, what pattern do we have forming here? I even give you the answer there. Look at that. Hello. So, remember we had said that the 25 level is basically somewhere in here. I can see that looks like a really pretty inverted head and shoulders. The key here, if you want to try and time this trade, is we want to see that volume, right? We really want to see, where did the little thing go? Anyway, we want to see the volume confirm here. Why can I not see the volume? Where are you, volume? Where's the little box here? Oh, well, anyway, I guess I messed it up. Oh, that's not it. So many buttons. Anyway, what we really want to see is we want to see the volume pour in and confirm this. My problem is I don't know why. Why can't I see the volume here? Oh, look at that. It's out. Okay, there we go. So a little bit suspect. We don't want to see the volume trailing off. Notice when this thing was a rip-roaring bull, look how the volume was accelerating here. That's the key to this, right? We want to see the buyers just keep coming in, buying, buying, buying. So we'll see how this goes. But if you can start seeing W's come in on these green bars, and that's because things like these inverted head and shoulders start confirming. Maybe this W starts confirming. Oh, yeah, there, come back chart. There we go. On the other side of trend line, oh boy, get ready. So, I for one, I'm definitely keeping my eyes peeled here. And what I think happens, like I said, I've been having fun playing in this environment. But you can actually see there's a bunch of these that are all trying to go and W out here. And I think what happens here is that people are going to see that these things are Wing out. The only way to buy them, of course, is on the Solana network. So you got to go and buy your Solana. Then you got to go and buy these individual names. And there you got yourself a bull market. Yeah, if this didn't take so long to load, I would just quickly flip through these. But I think there's Peep actually, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Steven was even telling me that these guys have like a gambling sort of platform. I really like the volume coming in here. Notice the green bars moving up here. Really like that price action. And ironically enough, this is exactly where I'm long from because I bought right there when we broke out through this trend line here. So super excited. And again, there's my double level. Is it realistic that this thing on any kind of pop could jump up into these levels here? I think so. Anyway, so just having a lot of fun. Of course, Brian, he absolutely loves his 78.6 fib, right? Brian's favorite fib, the BFF. And that was actually, I think, the reason why I bought right there, right? What does that number say there? 11,563. That was 11,29. So 11,3, we'll call it. That's pretty close. So I think that was the reason why I stepped in and just pulled the trigger on that move there. Anyway, so there's a lot of this. Now, if we find that the volume just disappears and the momentum disappears, this might sit in the shitter for a while. But I'm happy coming in and just buying against the bottom ends of ranges here like this. I love these and this is basically the hallmark of little old lady sort of investment plan. Force yourself to come in at the bottom end of the range, get your sell halves on double orders working, and then just kick back and just, if this thing does puke out and head down because I didn't break Brian's second rule of investing, which of course you all know what that is, then I can always add to the trades. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can see I've been slowly building up my list. See that this one is super popular on this site. I don't know whether I really have bought into it full bore, but you can see that pretty W. And again, the same sort of idea, breaking down trend lines. Can I get W's on other sets of trend lines? This one, actually, I was sleeping while I came in. So when I saw that, I just threw my stink bid to buy the W bottom breakout, and I got filled right there. Again, I'm more than happy. Step in on the long side down. If I could buy at or below reload zones, Brian, he loves that kind of stuff. So, and actually, this is a super cool one that a site member had posted. And when I saw this chart, I was just like nearly fell off my seat because this is everything I'm trying to teach you guys. And I'm having fun talking to you guys about Solana. But as I said earlier, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's futures, options, stocks. It's all the same logic. I mean, hopefully all of you can see here that this is basically just a big ass triangle here. Triangles are your trader's best friend because really what they are is reload zones within reload zones. And hopefully you can see nice W's and a W after a W. And this came in on just the most beautiful momentum bottom here. Although I don't know why that doesn't have it on there. Maybe it doesn't show off the 15-minute chart. I mean, obviously this ain't for the light of heart, right? You better know what the hell you're doing in the market here before you get involved in this. But you can see there's the big W breakout in MACD. Of course, I love that stuff. This was a beautiful breakout, nice double bottom off of here, a nice volume breakout as well. The real sharpshooter, of course, like I said, came in and bought these W's down in here. Look at that beautiful W in MACD. I mean, just absolutely textbook. And actually a really good example of a bull div there as well. Like we were just sitting in their lounge. This was such a beautiful example of fog and bombs and chaos theory. Can you see how we put in this W breakout? So you measure your chaos theory and look how 2.618 market ran right into that level and ran into a bunch of chaos. And in essence, price went chaotic. Had to consolidate, put in W's. Not really any clean turn here. But interestingly enough, look how the next leg up top here, 4669, new chaos level. And this one I thought was super cool because it was like a confluence of chaos, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but I have to go hourly. Will that do it? Yeah, there we go. So this one was super cool because you can see, although I don't see it on here. Well, I guess interesting. Anyway, there were two chaos studies on here. Anyway, we'll just have to leave with one. Good example, 4.669. You can see we ran into chaos, and that was it for the bull. So really good example in this venture cap stuff. You better make damn sure to pay yourself. That's why I like building into my plan. I have to sell half on a double, or maybe it's like sell a little bit more than half on a double and get the extra money for the tax man. That's fine. Or, sell at like 2.618 and the 0.618 is the tax man's. Make damn sure to pay your taxes. Don't fuck around with that stuff. But the point here is that, Jesus, the opportunities are everywhere. This was such a good example. And what also a good example, too, that in essence, once the pump was done, then this thing actually has come right back down to Brian's favorite fib. And he might actually have a reason to step in and think about buying it back. Actually, I never did buy this. So this actually is my opportunity to start looking at this thing for an initial stab. Now, what I really want to see here is I want to see bull divs. We had a really nice one forming through here. Didn't really get the best entry, so I didn't really do anything yet. But I am interested now. We're at 2.61, or excuse me, 78.6, Brian's favorite fib, back down against the original bottom. I'm going to be watching this thing for an entry. And oh, look at the beautiful W that's trying to form on MACD here. So we'll definitely keep our eyes peeled. This is actually also a really good example to notice. There was no volume confirmation here. No volume confirmation. This little rally just stalled out. Really good example of that. Anyway, let's see. What time is it? I got 20 minutes to go. Do we have any questions today, Chris? I don't know. I'm just having fun, just sort of freestyling it here. All right, good. All right, so let's circle back around and just see if there was anything on the newsletter we wanted to talk about. So this past week, of course, being Christmas, it's kind of a mess. Holiday environment. Interesting how the breadth, not really overly happy here. So I don't know whether I'm really buying into this idea that we are going to get another leg higher here in the short term on things like SOL. What probably needs to happen, and I suppose if we circle back around and look at big, actually, what's the best chart to show you? This is the best chart. I'll show you just a second. Give me a second here. The best chart to show you is this one, total market cap. So, and actually, I even put a tweet out the other day about this, and yet somebody I tweeted out, you better be careful here. Everybody, you need to understand in the total crypto market, this isn't necessarily Bitcoin. It might be your individual coin, might not be. This is the total market cap. I think right now there is very easily, I hate to say it, folks, very easily. You know how much I love 78.6s. You see where the uptrend line is. And this uptrend actually goes all the way back off of this low. Boom, boom. It's a potential trend line. It's not active, validated, but I won't get into that right now. What is active and validated, and why I think there is some validity to this line, is notice the trend line that was put in off of this low, down, up, down, breakout. That is a valid active trend line off of that low right there and that low right there. This is a market structure signal. If I can get the damn thing to cooperate. Come on, you. There we go. Notice how close those are. So I think that there is some validity to this trend line. I think that there is key support along here. And I think also, too, that enough sort of people in the public will also be drawing this trend line that you're going to have a lot of people in the public seeing this area and going, well, that is trend line support, so I'm going to step in and buy that. Oh, and what a big surprise. It's reload zone. And then also, too, we have a lot of people in the public. If we look at Bitcoin, notice that these key lows, 25,000. It is, I think, important for you to recognize and just appreciate that usually when there's a big sort of public offering for assets, like, does anybody remember what happened to that coin stock right after it had a public listing last year? Anybody tell me? What happened to coin after it publicly listed? TBG, are you here? I think you know what happened. Anyone? Was that 2 years ago? Jesus. Yeah, I remember, Adam. You even were mentioning it. So what I would strongly suggest is be careful, right? This is the gold ETF listing. Notice big bull market into the listing, literally straight up. Then once the listing happened, basically nothing for like 6 months. Also remember, too, that we had Larry Williams recently share with us. Oh, by the way, Joey Diamond calling fucking Bitcoin a fraud? Fuck you. What a dick. Has anybody asked? And then him saying publicly the other day in the US Congress, well, if it was up to me, I'd ban Bitcoin. Well, if it was up to me, I think I would maybe ban JP Morgan. Look at the amount of fraud that these guys committed where they had to pay total penalties, $40 billion in penalties. Just imagine the amount of fraud that they committed to garner a penalty of 40 billion. I mean, it must be in the trillions. God, these bastards. So they're just criminal. Joey Diamond has no right to call Bitcoin a fraud. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anyway, back to our story. Mr. Larry Williams, a gentleman that I highly respect in the market, basically was showing his audience recently, and I'd have to agree with it. There's nothing really out of the ordinary here. What does a typical election year actually look like in the market? Because keep in mind, this is a big political event year this year in the US stock market. And the guy that is in power, I think he'd like to remain in power. The only reason why 2008 the market fell apart was because the guy that was in power, it was legally impossible for him to stay in power. So, and the guy who was his vice president was like one of the most hated people in the United States of America. So there was no way that that political party was going to stay in power. So as a result, they let the whole fucking thing burn. And that is very typical US politics. Don't kid yourself. What happened there was just totally business as usual. So the guy that's in power right now would like to stay in power. Whether he will actually be alive and have a pulse on election day, that's another conversation altogether. But the point here is, what does a typical US presidential election year look like if the people that are in power want to stay in power? But believe it or not, keep in mind the election is in November. So would it not make sense that maybe we spend the first 6 months just doing absolutely nothing? Interesting how that gold ETF chart, after it did its IPO, looks almost identical to this chart. Do you see history maybe repeating itself? So we go back to that Bitcoin chart. So this is like re-election years. What does the market typically do? It actually peaks in the very beginning of the year. They bring it down because they're trying to, make sure that the inflation is all low so that the guy in power, by the time we get to November and people are actually at the voting booth saying, yeah, let's run this guy out of here because inflation's double digit and it's terrible. Or maybe we're going to be at the election booth and, well, actually, inflation is negative right now. He's doing a really good job. Let's send him back into office. I mean, you tell me, you know how this game works. So maybe inject a little bit of pain into our lives to start the year, go sideways and consolidate. And the first 6 months of the year are basically shit. Does that not? Wait a minute. Well, let's go back to that gold ETF and what happened there. And do you see history repeating itself with this Bitcoin ETF? Frankly speaking, I do. So there's the gold ETF. And like we said, 6 months of basically nothing. Rallying Bitcoin into the end of the year, ETF. We do absolutely nothing for 6 months. Clean up the overbought condition. Oh, is there something about the Bitcoin chart right now that is telling us to cool our jets? I don't know. That Beamish guy, doesn't he always go on about MACD bearish momentum divergences? And now maybe you should cool your jets if you see a big fat MACD bearish momentum divergence confirmed. I mean, it's sitting there. I wouldn't be surprised if they ramp this thing up here and take another run at these highs again. But the bear div is there. This is like there's writing on the walls. Now, do you want to read the writing? Do you want to respect the writing? Or are you just going to ignore it? There was a gentleman, bless his heart. I really liked the guy, really tried to help him out. He came in here publicly, and he's richer than Stink just because he owns Bitcoin from zero. But he publicly came out through this part of the market and said, oh, don't worry about momentum divergences and Willie stupid and RSI double tops and MACD bearish divergences and volume being basically nothing. Don't worry about TA, just buy and you'll get rich. And how did that work? So I'm not really calling a top here. In fact, I'm not, because I do think that they could fuck around with this a little bit more here. But just respect the message. I mean, there's no way in hell I can come in and buy Bitcoins in the face of that. There's just no way I can. And oh, by the way, this is a terrible trade location. I would consider this like no man's land. If any of you have ever played tennis, right? You can. Whoa, wait, no, weird. My camera just went all fuzzy. You can play tennis in the no man's land if you want. It's up to you. Come on, camera. Why are you all fuzzy? There's my hand. It's focused in on. There we are. Hey, I'm back. All right. You can play tennis in no man's land. It's damn difficult. Gonna tell you, it's not easy. You can do it. I'm not going to fault you, but right there, taking a trade on Bitcoin with the daily chart spitting out this huge bearish momentum divergence in your face, I'd be a little bit careful, folks. Okay, so coming back to our total, right? This isn't just Bitcoin. This is the entire crypto universe. I mean, this is a really cool indicator, MAB divs, somebody built on TradingView. And really, I like to teach you guys that you should have 3 unrelated reasons to justify taking a trade. Number 1 should be trade location. In this particular case, we actually have 2.618 Feigenbaum extensions, right? Remember Bitcoin, it's got this 2.618 Feigenbaum extension level. Chaos theory that we're up against right now, same logic. So we have 2.618 levels right in here. We also have a 1.272 level, which is an alt ABCD level here. And then also too, if we just simply draw a very basic fib, remember I showed you at the beginning of this broadcast, somebody did a fib off of this range and just said, well, what's a reload zone off of this range? And lo and behold, here we are, good old mountain man. So I think you can make the argument that, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a short. What I would say is it feels like the short is in the process of setting itself up. So yes, we are into shorting trade location. This is not a buying zone. We've got chaos theory levels. So actually, you should expect price to get a bit chaotic in here. We have an alt ABC extension level. Could we pop up a little bit higher here? Sure. Remember the Solana story? If Solana does happen to consolidate and then start to find a floor and start to break out, that's a lot of ifs, right? This is nowhere near setting itself up. But if this does take the time here over the next week or two and set itself up, maybe we can have another push higher here. But the odds, in my humble opinion, are that rally window is slowly coming to an end. And now you can see, I love this indicator. Look at all the divergences. Right now, we only have 2 confirmed divergences, but 6 potential divergences. Look at them all. Don't fight this, people. If these all start turning confirmed, I can tell you, TRIers, they're going to start chomping at the bit wanting to go short here. I wouldn't say it's here yet, but I definitely like the 3 reasons to justify a trade. Location, yes, we are in short trade location. Indicator confirmation, they are slowly transitioning from potential to confirmed. They're not there yet, but they are building. Then lastly, if we do get these confirmed divs, then what I want to start doing is I want to start hunting M's to actually frame those shorts. We're nowhere near that level yet. So this is the tweet that I put out the other day, and I think that this summarizes how I'm feeling about crypto right now. We are very, very late in this story. And be damn careful, please. Please be careful with your hard-earned money. You can see, if this was an asset and I wanted to invest in this asset, not necessarily trade, but actually invest, you can see where I want to invest. Not up here. Sorry. It's a no bueno, as one very popular social media guy loves to say. So that's, I think, actually a really good anecdote of the market. What I find interesting about this is when I put this message out onto social media the other day, I actually had somebody, and keep in mind, this would align perfectly with this kind of thinking. It would align perfectly. It's not necessarily that Bitcoin's going into a bear market. Nobody's saying that. I'm not even saying that crypto's going into a bear market. But have we maybe come a little too far, a little too fast? Didn't we say that the natural thing for us to expect at any given point in time? And actually, this would be a good little trivia piece for you. What time is it? I got 5 minutes left here. What is the number one thing that we should expect from all markets at any given point in time? Any time we should expect this to happen and not be surprised if price violently does this. You have to expect this, because this is the only way that you're going to keep yourself out of trouble in this world. And of course, none of the public ever even understands this. Excellent, Simeon. Nailed it. Very good. Excellent, Jeremy. Good. Bob says third. I'm not sure what that means. Brian helped me not lose a lot of money. Yeah, excellent, Sarah. I love that. I learned about how the world works. To me, Sunday show is like the weekly news. Oh, Sarah, can I please fall in love with you? Am I allowed to do that? I have that. Somebody even said, well, no, I wouldn't say Jason 50%. I mean, yes, you are right. WD GAN, that's what naturally should happen. but quite often you just get violent spikes down to 38.2s in a heartbeat. And it usually breaks the bulls' hearts. So, I mean, this is where I can invest, but this isn't where I would expect if there was a violent knee jerk dump. I would expect, and all of you can do this. This isn't rocket science. Just get into the habit and ask yourself, well, okay, if I do buy here, what's a 38.2 that I should expect that this could happen at any moment? There it is. Do you see how quite literally this market could lose just on a heartbeat? It could lose 20% of its value instantly. 22%, according to this. That's the same logic as I showed you over here. Oh, actually, that's not a good sign. See, the moving averages are crossing bearishly here. So if this thing still is a bull, that fucking bull better step up here. You can see there's trouble there brewing. Where did I do that? And actually, it's a little scary about Solana. I'll tell you that much, butt crackers. Because if we go, what's a 38.2 on Solana right now? It's like, uh-oh. So just understand, all you Solana bulls, there it is. You could at any given point in time see Solana dump down to 81 bucks in a heartbeat. So just be aware of that, folks. But there was another asset I was looking at earlier that anyway, I suppose I won't get it. Oh, here we go. So you can see, I've even drawn out, right? First stop, 38.2. On Bitcoin, that's 33,526 bananas. And notice how all that would be is just a tag of our trend line here. 27% drop at any given point in time. This could happen. And this, I'll finish the video off with this because I think this makes perfect sense. I've said to you repeatedly of late, we could very easily get a spike up into big fat round numbers, 61.8, head and shoulders objectives, inverted or empire tops, institutional fingerprint pivots, look left highs. We could also very easily, in a moment's notice, dump right back down into 38.2s, Wyckoff checks of the original breakouts, 2.618. If 2.618 resolves negatively, we should trade right back to 1.0. Remember I showed you that fun little altcoin? It basically did exactly that. I mean, this is the best part about this, folks, is once you learn this, then you realize that all of this is interchangeable. And it doesn't matter whether you're trading an option or whether you're trading a stock or whether you're trading a shitcoin. Look how we went 2.618 and then we had to come screaming right back down. Actually just missed the original breakout. We came right back to that candle body low, went up to 4669, came screaming right back to 2.618, went up to 4669, back down to 2.618, lost 2.618, came right back down to 100%, the original breakout level, and pivoted back up to 2.618. Look at that, right back down to 100%, then right back to 2.618, and then right back to 100%, just literally playing ping pong between these levels. Any reason why Bitcoin can't do the same damn thing? No, because the universe is a fractal. All of this stuff works exactly the same everywhere. Well, what do you think, folks? Anybody get any value out of all that? It's 1 o'clock, right on the nose. So if anything, that is my cue. I should head off to my real job now. So thank you, Bob. You're already reading my mind. Everybody give, and really, don't give a wish for me. Give a wish for my boy, my beautiful, beautiful child. If you want to learn what really motivates me in this world, I think I can show you. I don't really use Facebook that much. We probably should as TRI. look at all these notifications and messages and stuff. And one thing, the reason why I don't like coming on here is that most of these messages are from these dickhead, asshole, loser, cocksucker, slut, bitches. And it's all just a big fucking scam, this social media. It just disgusts me. But on a positive note, if you do want to come over and learn a little bit about my life, on my personal page, there's my boy. He loves to throw rocks in the water. And as you can see, somewhere down in all this, there is Lily on his birthday. He is the love of my life. He is the center of my universe. And he is, when I make reference to my real job, it's going and I spend 2 days a week, and those days are Liam's days. And I have to leave here now and go and try and give him the best possible life I possibly can for the limited amount of time that I get to be with him. So, wish you all the best of luck and best wishes. Yeah, don't be like this, please, for God's sakes. Let TRI help you. Let me help you. My goal is to prevent this shit. And the way that our system just eats all of you alive. I'll spend the rest of my days trying to give Liam the best possible life possible, given his circumstances, and to try and help all of you. That's my commitment to all of you. It's my commitment to JoJo. It's my commitment to God. So, slow and steady wins the race. PMA for the win. I love you, sweetie. I'll be with you shortly. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. If I can somehow make a positive difference in your life, please allow me to help you. That's what I'm here to do. All the best. Hugs and kisses. And bye for now.